Hi, I'm Lisa with Lisa Boo Designs, and today we're going to be making over this wardrobe. I am surrounded by a lot of furniture. My living room is getting smaller and smaller, but I have a goal of revamping my store and my room and with all new furniture, and I want a diverse variety of styles, painting techniques, inventory, just everything in general. I do not want to put a lot of time, effort, money, products into this. So we're going to be using DIY Paint Cottage Color. I did this on a live when the paints first came out, and I used every color. So I want you to get an idea. If you are not familiar with the DIY Paint Cottage Color line, these are all of the colors. This is the vintage linen, paint blue, which is what I used on that piece right here. Vintage pink, vintage mint, and I did the stenciling and the border in the gray skies. And it's very durable paint. It's an all-in-one, so it has a top coat. You don't have to seal it. You can add a sealer. You can add Big Top or wax if you want to. I did use wax on this one because I stained the wood, and so I wanted it to have an even finish. Paint itself is very durable. There are 5 colors with more colors coming soon. Let's take a look at the Armoire. So here's the thing. DIY Paint Cottage Colors are pastels. It's a thinner paint. It is not the same formula as our clay-based artisan type quality chalk style paint that I love, absolutely love, and I do a lot of my videos using the DIY Paint's original formula. I'll be honest, I didn't love the new formula because I love the old formula so well. And this paint is thinner. It has a different learning curve to it than the DIY Paint's original formula. So what I did was I used a measuring cup from my kitchen, and I used a 1/4 cup, and I just made lines, 1/4 cup, 1/4 cup, 1/4 cup, so that I could have a formula for my color, and I could, if I needed to make more, I could make more. I'm terrible. I said last year I was gonna be better about documenting my mixology, and I haven't, because I'm just always on the go, and I just mix and I pour, and I'm like, oh, I like that. So what I did here is I put 2 parts vintage pink to 1 part vintage linen. This paint, because it has a top coat, you're going to want to be careful with your brush, and you're going to want to be careful with your floor. Wherever you put that paint, it's going to stay. Okay? If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Now here's the $1 million question. How many coats will it take to go over this black? I have no idea. We're about to find out. So on the other side, I did do 1 coat so that we could see what 2 coats would look like. This paint does dry quickly, but again, this is not DIY's original formula. Light. It's very good. It's light. It's very seriously, it's very, very lightweight. It didn't do that to me before. I'm not sure why it just did that. I don't know if I have a cat here. I'm not sure what happened. I want to move this. This is drying. Okay, Simon, we're going for a ride. He's like, seriously?
The second coat goes on a lot better, but this was a black piece and I'm using a very light pink. So it actually took me 3.5 coats to get full coverage. I think if it had not been black, I probably could have done maybe 2.5 or maybe 3, but it dries super fast. So it's definitely something that can be done in one day. I did have to make a little bit more of my paint, so I'm glad that I measured because it was super easy to get a little bit more paint to be able to finish this project. I highly recommend writing down your custom mixes. Don't do like I've done in the past and just go on the fly, because if you really like it, you do want to do it again. For my third coat, I went ahead and I added just a little bit of water just to get it nice and smooth, and it really does have a self-leveler in there, and so it is super smooth. I love the way that it looked at the end. The coverage was really good.
The struggle is real for me. Can I make something just plain? I got paint all over me. Can I have just one color? It's so hard. It is so hard. The struggle is real. And I do like this. I like this. I'm just trying not to spend too much money, too many products, too much time. I still have to reinforce the bottom so I can apply my molds because I'm waiting on my husband to cut the wood and install it on the bottom, and then I can cover the nail guns, or however he does the brad nails, with the mold, which will add interest and make it look really cool on the bottom. And this looks pretty, it really does. But there's like that black there. So I'm gonna go ahead and distress it some. With this paint, you can distress it. You just wanna do it sooner rather than later. So let's go ahead and do that now. That looks better. Already, that looks better. Because realistically, when you have something that's absolutely perfect, you're always going to be careful that it's going to get dinged up, and if it gets dinged up, you're going to be upset with it. That's how I was when I got my car and I got hit by a deer. It's like, I loved my brand new van. It was a Honda Odyssey. It was years ago. It was my favorite car, and then a deer came and just flopped itself all over my car, and I kept looking at it and I was like, I hate this car because it wasn't perfect. Now, obviously, we don't want our cars all dinged up and banged up, but with furniture, we're wearing and tearing, and we're using and abusing, and especially if you have kids, and if this is gonna be in a nursery, there's gonna be a toddler that's gonna end up hitting it. And it's just like I told my friend, she's actually my husband's niece. She wants to paint her kitchen cabinet. I'm like, if you go for perfection, you will be just devastated if it gets dinged up. So just make it rustic. It's gonna be slightly distressed, and it just makes it more comfortable and worn and used. And if it gets a ding here or there, you don't notice it as much. But this looks really good, and it's making that black make sense, and I like it. And it's just a little bit of distressing. So yes, I will have to go and seal this. But I'm gonna add this transfer in bits and pieces, and I think it's going to be perfectly imperfect.
I love it when I can use transfers for 2, 3, even 4 or more projects. I feel like I get a bigger bang for my buck. And I had some scraps left over from a project that I did in my own house on a trunk that I usually keep in my living room, using this winter song transfer. but I had another one in the tube. It's an older one, so I went ahead and I cut up a whole bunch and I just laid them out and decided which one would be best. And I wanted to use this one here in the front, the biggest one in the bottom, and so I just cut off the pieces because I wanted it to be flush on the door. And what you want to do when you get your transfer on there is you want to rub it down really well. You can use tape to hold it up if you want to, but I find that I could usually keep it on there because the transfer will stick a little bit. And you just want to use that applicator to basically rub on the transfer, but don't use too much pressure. I like to take my other hand and pull it back, and I'm going very slow. This transfer is probably one of the harder ones just because it has a lot of small details, a lot of little lines, and so I just take it slow, and if it doesn't stick, I put it back and I just keep rubbing. And then once I get it off, I go ahead and I feel it, make sure that everything is nice and flat, and then I take the back of the paper, the carrier sheet, and I burnish it down really well. I ended up putting 2 smaller transfers, actually 3 transfers on each side. Next, we went ahead and reinforced the bottom. It had some water damage, and so I had glued as much as I could glue and clamped it, and then he went ahead and cut some wood and put it on the inside. I didn't show that we actually cut the molding. We actually did actual trim molding for your house and put it on the bottom. And then I couldn't leave well enough alone. I needed to add gold, even though I said I didn't want to use a lot of products. But I'm using this Posh Chalk and pale gold and Big Top to mix it up. You can mix it up like a paste. You could do it even thinner than this, but I actually did it thick because I knew that I was going to use the water bottle to get it to drip. I love doing this. You can do it without the drip, but it just creates some shimmer all down the piece, and it just looks like the gold just dripped, and I really like that look. Of course, if you don't have to do it that way, but as it dripped, I do go back and I wipe up some of the excess. I let some of it fall down, and you can actually see the I had applied Big Top after I did the transfer on the piece, and you can see the water repelling on Big Top here in a minute. So totally great coverage. It's going to be nice and durable for the person. See how that water is just sitting on top of the Big Top? I love it. It looks so good. I love that shimmer falling down. Let me know in the comments what you think about this piece. Here's the before. Also, if you're interested in the products, the links are in the description. Just click on more and you can go to my website and purchase them. And here is the after. And see the molding on the bottom? It just kind of grounded it. It just helped to reinforce it, really. But I like how it looked. I just painted with the pink right over it. And I've gotten a lot of compliments. I think this has been elevated to not just a nursery, but just a guest room. Anybody could have this piece. It really took it up a notch, adding the transfers and then adding that gold. Please let me know in the comments what you think. I want to thank you so much for your support, for watching this video, for commenting and liking it. And I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for your kindness. I truly do. I hope that you have an incredibly blessed day.